Yeah, Arsenal, the champions, 3 weeks to go until the start of the Premier League season. All eyes on them and how they'll set about trying to win it again, defend that title. Jay Bothroyd then here to discuss his former club. But you've changed your tune a bit on Vinicius Junior, haven't you? People missed this in the past hour. You went from euphoria last week to cool-headed assessment of the numbers and you say it won't work.
Yeah, you know, Teddy, I got gassed. I ain't even going to lie, I got gassed. But, I mean, listen, if it does happen, it will be one of the best signings Arsenal have ever made.
Yeah.
Because he's a fantastic player. He's electric, like I said before. He's a winner. He knows what it's like to play in big moments. But it's not easy to come to the Premier League. So it will still take him time to adjust. But that definitely is a statement signing. And if Arsenal could get that over the line, you know, all the fans are going to go down to the Arsenal shop and get Vinny on the back straight away.
So you make the money back.
I'll be down there getting it for my son for sure. But I think when you look at the financially, it doesn't make sense, and I just don't feel like Arsenal will make that kind of move. Because you've got to pay the transfer fee. There's going to be a big one. And then you've got to pay his salary. Like I said before, you know, you're going to have to pay him the best part of 800,000 a week gross to get him there. And I don't see Arsenal shattering their wage structure to do that. And it's not just for him, it's what comes after him. You know, the likes of Declan Rice, you know, the likes of Saka again when he wants to sign a new deal, the likes of Odegaard if they want him to stay, he's going to want a lot more money. the likes of Saliba, Gabriel, you know, some of the world's best centre-halves. They're going to take him into
through the roof.
Yeah, they're going to take him into the next stratosphere, you know, and then I don't think Arsenal can make that kind of move. Again, there's no doubt about it. I got excited the other day. But there are other players in world football that I would be excited to see at Arsenal as well.
Well, I wonder what Christos Solis makes of all this, because he impressed, didn't he, against Girona yesterday, put up some serious numbers over the past couple of years in Belgium. I just wonder with him, with Martinelli, do Arsenal actually need a left winger? What's your take?
I still think they do need that. I think Solis came in as a replacement for Trossard. I thought Trossard's, you know, he'd done fantastically well at Arsenal. He scored some important goals, and he was part of the squad that got Arsenal, you know, over the line to win the league. But I think Arsenal did need to bring another left winger in. And I still think they will be trying to, you know, obviously Vinny, but then like sort of Barcola, I think they, you know, Yildiz, you know, looking at players like that for Juve, again, young player, but, you know, he's a top player. I think there was even links between Arsenal and Yildiz earlier on or toward the back end of last season. But I still think they need to bring someone in on the left-hand side. I actually do want to see a striker there as well. I do want to see a striker there. I think that Arsenal need to get world-class players in. And
so,
I'm not
to start ahead of Gyökeres.
Yeah. I think Gyökeres done well for his first season in terms of numbers, but I think his overall output, it wasn't good enough. Not what I expect from him. When you see him play in, you know, the Portuguese league, and it's not as good as the Premier League, don't get me wrong, and there is an adjustment period, but I didn't see enough in his game where I can say Arsenal shouldn't be looking at another striker.
What did you want to see from him?
The kind of player that I would like to see up front for Arsenal is like the Isak mould, the Ikatike mould, where they can come, drop into pockets, link up play, manufacture their own goals in terms of, you know, beating a couple of players and putting one in the top corner. Like, that's the kind of quality that I'm used to seeing in my lifetime. And, you know, Ian Wright could do that, Dennis Bergkamp could do that.
So more than a target man.
Henry can do that. You know, there's lots of players that can do that. I don't see Gyökeres like that. I feel like he's more of someone that, you know, he's going to put himself around. He's going to score goals. He scored important goals last year. There's no doubt about that. But I'm looking at the likes of Alvarez. If Arsenal can get Alvarez, that is a statement signing. He's one of the best forwards in the world. He can play in a number of positions as well. Maybe at some games he could play up front with Gyökeres. But I just think Arsenal need more reinforcements there. I look at Havertz. Again, he's done a great job when he's played up front for Arsenal, but to me, he's more of a number 10. He's more of an attacking midfielder. So Arsenal need options. Arsenal need to improve their squad, the depth. Arsenal are going to be competing, obviously, for the Premier League, but they need to start going and putting, you know, the same kind of performances they played in the Champions League, but they need to go into them games against PSG with a squad where they're saying, we can come and beat you at a game of football. Not, you know, let's see how, you know, let's frustrate PSG. Let's do this and that to these big sides and see where we can get there. I think the best teams in the world actually believe in their depth, their squad, and then they come out there and go and play football against teams. You know, not wait for the game to come to them. That's the kind of signings that I need to see at Arsenal, so then Arsenal can go and do that.
There are a lot of players there, a lot of talented players, aren't there? Another player impressed yesterday was 16-year-old Max Daumann. Good goal. We showed that a few moments ago. Would you start him this season? And if so, where would you start him?
I mean, if Saka's not going to be available for the first game of the season, Daumann's definitely starting for me. I wanted to see him play more last year. There was times when Arsenal were going for a tough time, and that guy there, he's fearless. You know, he wants to get the ball. He's going at you every single time. He's looking to commit you. He's getting shots off. Look at this goal here. You know, he's dipped inside there and he's give the keeper the eyes and whipped it back in the bottom corner. That's great. You know, Max Daumann is 16, but if you look at him, he's playing in a young man's body as well. You know, you can't, you know, he's not lightweight. You can't push him off the ball. He plays with intelligence as well. When Saka is back, he's an option that I would be looking at if we're going to see his assist even. You know, that's from like the middle of the pitch. Like, a number 10 would pick up the ball there. Great weight of the pass. You know, it's perfect. And then obviously a nice finish there as well from Havertz. But I think that Arsenal do need to start utilising him. Because when you look at the players, around the world that have made their debuts, and this is from my era as well. First of all, Rooney. People like Cesc Fabregas, I've got a list there. Mbappe, recently, 16 years old. Jamal, 16 years old. Pedri, 16 years old. Musiala, 17 years old. R9, 16 years old. Messi, 17. I don't understand. For me, if you're good enough, you're old enough. You play them. You get the best out of them. It's not about protecting them. There's so much technology these days in football. You know, you get to, you know, rest, recover. You've got everything you possibly want. You've got chefs. You fly on private jets. You're not going on a 4-hour coach ride from like London to Manchester. You're flying these places. So like for me, I'm looking at this and I'm saying Arsenal need to play this player. He is that good.
Would it
I don't think Arsenal can afford not to play him.
Would it cause unrest if he keeps Saka out of the team, if he keeps Eze out of the team at 10?
Unrest with who?
Whether the players would be frustrated that kids come in and
no one cares about the players if you're winning football matches. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's playing. If you're getting the 3 points, no one's gonna make up noise. And you know, it will keep people like Saka on their toes because you've got someone breathing down your neck. You've always got to raise your game. You know, and I think that's what Arsenal need. They need more competition because, again, let me just say, as much as we're talking about Saka being number 1 choice, he is number 1 choice. Madueke is number 2 choice. They bought him. In my opinion, I look at Daumann and I say he's better than Madueke already. You know, Madueke is good as a squad player, but he's never going to play first choice for Arsenal, right wing. He might on the left-hand side, but he has to say, you know what, I'm happy to play on that left-hand side. Madueke doesn't seem like the type of player to me that is going to say that. He'll do a job, but he wants to play on the right-hand side.
So he can cut in on his left?
Yeah, so he can cut in on his left and score goals. And I feel like when he plays, to be perfectly honest, he is more comfortable on that right-hand side. But when he did play on the left-hand side, he put some good balls in and he's direct. But I look at Daumann and I say he's got more attributes than Madueke right now. I think he's more refined. He plays with more intelligence than Madueke. And I just feel like Arsenal have to play him. I don't think Arsenal can afford not to. This is, you know, we won the title last year. You need to go and this can't be a situation like Liverpool winning the title and then coming the next season and putting in, you know, substandard performances. You need to play your best players. And if Saka's not going to be available that first game, then Daumann needs to play. Well,
you mentioned that because Arsenal got to contend with the fact, Arteta has to contend with the fact that a number of England players at the World Cup, particularly Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice, who both looked to having injury problems. Saka probably looked a lot fresher than Rice by the end of the World Cup. How do you handle that? When do you bring them back in? You've got City having your Community Shield and then it's Coventry first day of the season.
I don't think Saka plays again in the Community Shield. I think you play him and I think you have to play in the first game of the season. It's a home game. I think you play him, you give him like 60 minutes. Hopefully the game will be wrapped up by then. It should do. And playing Coventry at home. No,
are you confident his Achilles is OK? Because you think it's not the Achilles that was the issue over the World Cup?
I think it's more of his hamstrings. I think it's more of his match sharpness. You know, you can be fit. You can be 100% fit in terms of injuries. But if you don't have that match sharpness, you know, you're never going to be as effective as you was. And when we looked at Saka play when he came in there for England, you know, he put some good performances in and he looked sharp. But I think the reason why he didn't start earlier on in the tournament is because of that sharpness.
Yeah.
But he got it, and then, you know, now I would be looking at that saying, okay, give him a couple of weeks off, but he can start the first game of the season. Declan Rice, I think that's a tough one. Definitely not. He definitely doesn't even train up until the Coventry game.
Because it was a back/hamstring issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was struggling throughout the year. Declan Rice was our most important player last year. He led Arsenal, even through the tough times. I believe that he's going to be Arsenal's captain, next captain. It might even be this season's captain. But he is such a character. He works extremely hard on and off the field. You know, he's telling the manager, you know, I want to play. But I feel like this season, you have to give him his time in particular because he played so many minutes. But then you look at the fixtures that Arsenal have. Those fixtures are not easy. You know, yes, OK, Coventry just got promoted at home as well. You would say that's comfortable.
You can rest maybe.
You would think. But then Aston Villa away, then Chelsea at home, Sunderland away, Brighton away, and then Leeds at home. That's not an easy start to any season. And, you know...
Could they lose the title in that run?
I don't know about lose the title. It's a long season because we don't know how other teams are going to start.
If you lost a couple of them, maybe...
Teddy, I'm not falling into this trap. I'm not falling into this trap because other teams
I'm not
might
saying
go...
you will, I'm just saying
other teams might go and start off not as good as well, so we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But you look at those fixtures there, especially the Aston Villa away, the Chelsea, you know, the Brighton away, those three, even Sunderland away, that is a hard start to a season. And we're going to need Declan Rice in there. We are. And yes, if we get Guimaraes over the line, then maybe you could give Declan Rice more time because you'd like to think Zubimendi, he didn't start for Spain. So, you know, even though he was there, he didn't have, it wasn't as grueling as it would have been for Declan Rice, where he was playing every game for England, pretty much.
You mentioned Bruno Guimaraes because we did talk about this a little bit in the previous hour. People who didn't see that, Arsenal, we think in for him. Newcastle are still waiting a formal approach, formal dialogue to start between the clubs. What are your thoughts on him, and just reiterate how you would see him fitting into Arsenal's midfield, because it would slightly change the complexion of how they play.
Yeah, I think Arsenal right now, I think Arteta's got a conundrum, and I feel like the players that we've signed, like Eze, for example, to get the best out of Eze, he needs to play as a 10. I want to see the kind of Eze that I see at Palace, fearless. It doesn't care about losing the ball, you know, shooting from the edge of the box, getting assists. Dribbling with the ball, coming deep, using his power. I want to see that kind of Eze. The only way we're going to see that is if he plays as a 10. I think Odegaard is a natural number 10.
Well, Guimaraes, interestingly, I would have thought of him as an all-round central midfield player, but actually he's got better attacking output than most of those players there.
Them players there, Teddy, Zubimendi, defensive. I think he's like a quarterback. He distributes through the lines. And we see that early on when he first went to Arsenal. Towards the end of, you know, last season, he looked jaded. And the Premier League is a tough league. In Europe, they get winter break. In England, you don't. And I think that took toll on Zubimendi. Guimaraes, he's used to the Premier League. He's strong, he's powerful. He's a number 8 to me. I look at him very similar to Declan Rice in terms of getting forward and getting back.
Could Rice not sit?
But he can score.
Could Rice sit and let him...
Yeah, of course Rice can sit. We've seen him sit. You know, when he first came to Arsenal, he was sitting. Then his role changed. Then he started playing on the left of the 3, started getting forward more. But he definitely can sit. I think when we see Declan Rice play for West Ham, he was sitting majority of the time. He was sitting in there and he was getting forward because he's got that fitness, he's got that physicality. But generally, you would say that he's a defensive midfielder. He's changed his game. He's evolved his game. Now we're seeing Declan Rice getting forward more. But Guimaraes, again, same kind of thing. I would say that he's more prolific than Declan Rice in terms of if the ball falls to him, I think he's a better finisher. I think he could score goals from outside of the box. That Declan Rice has as well, don't get me wrong, but I just think that Guimaraes has more than him in that kind of, you know, in that kind of attribute. But it's good. I would like, you know, all fit, raring to go. I would probably put in Declan Rice, Guimaraes, and then Eze as a 10.
Okay, so that's three.
You spend 60 million on Eze, you need to go and put him in his favourite position. You can't be playing him off the left and in a midfield 3. You need to go and play him in his position. And when I look at Eze. We don't have many of these players, by the way. We don't have sharpshooters. You know, Odegaard is our attacking midfielder, but we don't have no sharpshooters. When Eze plays, when that ball's around the box, I'm looking at that, I'm thinking we can score now.
Yeah.
Because he can shoot with both feet. He's got great technique. He's strong. He can drop a shoulder. He can put one in the top bins from anywhere. We see some great goals from him last year. Arteta needs to give him the platform to go and express himself like he was at Palace.
Is Odegaard not Arteta's go-to sort of rhythm setter, the guy, the metronome that sets the pace for the team, though? Is that the problem?
I think when we look at Odegaard and there's no doubt about it, Odegaard is still a top player. But I think Arsenal's evolved. They've become a better team. And with that, sometimes you see some of these top players, other top players come in and they trump them. And when I look at Odegaard, again, like you said, the link-up play between him and Saka has been fantastic. He will get assists. He's tidy. But I don't want to see Odegaard getting the ball off the back four. He does that way too much. And people say, oh, then he takes it forward. And I don't want to see that. I want to see Odegaard, like he was a lot of the time for Norway, where he was picking up the ball in between the lines, getting assists, creating chances. That's what I want to see. I think so many times last year, the ball got to Odegaard and then it slows down. And I feel like with the players we've got, we you know...
Do you want to see a faster-paced Arsenal moving the ball?
Yeah, we got quick players. We need to use it. We need to use those players. We need to use the speed. That's why I said if Saka's not going to play, use Daumann's speed. You know, he comes inside, he does everything quick, he's fearless. If we're going to see Odegaard play as a 10, he needs to work on his finishing. He needs to work on his shooting. He can't be, you know, looking to pass the ball all the time. And I feel like with Eze, when Eze's played really well, and you get that with him.
Like against France in the third place playoff game.
You know, he's making good passes through balls, but then he's the type of player, if he played every single game in a season, or if you got 30 games out of Eze, I think Eze will score like 10 to 12 Premier League goals, and I think you'll probably get double in assists as well, because he can see a pass. Whereas we've seen Odegaard put that in a season, but that was a long time ago now. I always say, man, you always got to update your resume, because there's people behind you that are breathing down your neck. And he's got a massive season. If he's going to stay at Arsenal, he's got a massive season ahead. Or he's going to be a squad player.
I have to have a look at my resume in the commercial break now. Do you think, you mentioned that Arsenal do need another striker. Is there anyone on the market now that you'd look at? You mentioned before, we were talking about Chelsea in the past, Liam Delap. No, Alvarez, who Barcelona want but may not get.
I'm not looking at anyone else apart from Alvarez. I think he is one of the best strikers in the world. He can play in all types of scenarios. He can drift wide, create his own goals. He's got great link-up play. He's got great vision. He's strong.
And you play him as a 9 and you play as a 9?
Yeah, because he can come in them holes and then he can get in behind as well. There was a few times when Alvarez was at City and Haaland was going for a bit of a drought where he played as a number 9 and he was scoring goals. He was running in behind, he was coming deep, he was getting assists. His link-up play is very good. His football IQ is very good. That's what I need to... I would love to see him at Arsenal. I really, really would. I'm not sure if I will, but I would... I mean, the only thing that I would look at is Berta took Alvarez from Man City to Atletico.
Yeah.
Now Berta's at Arsenal, maybe he can do the same thing because they've clearly got a good relationship. So maybe that could be the X factor that can make this transfer happen. But who knows? It's going to be a tough season for Arsenal.
Because we're waiting on that situation with Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. I don't think he's back yet in pre-season training, is he, Julian Alvarez? So we'll keep across the picture there at Atletico Madrid with him.
But sorry, Teddy, just to interrupt you there. These conversations are happening through the World Cup, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't think for 1 second these are not happening. Even the Elliot Anderson.
Even when you're on holiday.
Everyone knew that he was going Man City. It just got finalised afterwards. These conversations were happening throughout the World Cup. Sorry, Teddy.
No, it's fine. You get good clarification. Modern technology, we've got all the ways of staying in the loop now. You're never far from a phone, are you? With Pep Guardiola gone, this is incredible to say this, but Mikel Arteta is now the longest-serving manager in the Premier League. How much of an advantage is that continuity compared to the title rivals, and how much do you expect from him in terms of a change of tack? Because you've given some scenarios that would be a different change of style.
I think it is important. I do think it's less important now than it was, historically with the Alex Fergusons, the Arsene Wengers, and continuity is important. Obviously, Mikel Arteta, from where he took Arsenal, from where he's taken Arsenal when he took over to where they are now is light years. He's created a solid foundation at the club. He's created a good team spirit within the club. There doesn't seem to be many egos. I don't know what goes on a day-to-day basis, but from the outside looking in, there doesn't seem to be egos. Everyone knows and understands their role within the club. The managers there that I look at is Unai Emery. Unai Emery is a danger because what he's doing at Aston Villa is special. He is, and he doesn't have the means that Arsenal have.
And Arsenal let him go.
But he has players that are performing. All of those players understand what is expected of them. His man management is very good, and he turns people's careers around. I mean, I'm excited to see what he's going to do with Garnacho. Because he Man United, bit part there. Then he went to Chelsea. Everyone thought he could have been a really good signing. Didn't happen for him there. Now he's gone to Aston Villa. I'm looking forward to seeing that because he's got big boots to fill with Morgan Rogers leaving.
Final thought for Arsenal, how confident are you they defend their title?
I'm confident. I am confident. And I am confident because of the back line. Again, the back line, if Bruno comes, it looks like he's going to. Again, strengthening midfield, that's very important. But our back line is arguably the best in the world. Yes, Saliba's out at the moment and he will be out for a few months. But there's players that have come in and done really well. Nkapia done really well in centre-back. Mosquera done really well. So that's why I'm not really worried about signing another defender. I mean, there's talk that Arsenal will. But I wouldn't be worried about that part. The part that I'm worried about is the attacking options. Because none of our attacking players were in Team of the Year last year. Right? They just weren't. It wasn't good enough. And if Arsenal are going to go and retain the title, they need to improve them attacking options rather than defensive ones.
OK, Jay, seems like some cautious optimism, I think, overall. I could say that. Good to talk.